Welcome back. Right, so as you can see, I've now got it on the spit. I'll just show you the bits that I've got to do in this one. There's a few brackets from the floor of the old floor that I've got to put onto this one. So I'll just show you all those bits. I've still got the rear valance to do. So I'll just show you briefly what I've got to do. So while it's upside down, I have actually got to I've got to put a weld through there. I mean, it's generally all right, but it's always better to put a weld through there just to make it a bit more secure. So yeah, bits I had to fanny around with. So I couldn't get to let me just see. These bits, I couldn't get to them properly when it was on the jig, so I've got to plug weld them. I've cleaned all this up now, so that was that. Oh yeah, so just sort of having a bit of a dig around. It was a bit thin here. With a few little pinholes and that through, so I started sort of cleaning it up, and the holes seem to get bigger, so I've cut that section out, so I need to weld that back in and just put some plug welds through to that. So I'll do that first. So there's that. I've got a little tab to go on here which I've taken off the old floor. What else have I got to do? The tab there, so I've got the bracket to go on there for the two hydro pipes, and then on the old floor there was a bracket there and another bracket there, so I've got to put those on. So I managed to retrieve that from the old floor, so that goes on like that. And I've had to make a couple of new brackets for there, which I'll just plug weld on. So that's those. What else was it? Yeah, so the rear valance. So what I've done with this, I've obviously cleaned it all up. I've put weld through primer through here and through the back of there. I've actually sprayed that in a black and there, because you're never going to get to that once that's all welded on. And then I've also done the same to the actual valance, cleaned up, sprayed those inner bits black, and I've obviously put weld through primer on the other bits. So it's those bits to go on. I've cleaned up all my other spot welds. Let's just put you back on there. Oh yeah, there was one other thing. So on the old floor or heel board, there was this little thing. It looks like a pipe goes onto it. And it goes through there. So I've just taken that off of the old heel board, drilled the hole through there, pushed that. It's like a plastic grommet, and then that just pushes in there. Now I don't recall pulling a pipe off of there, so if anyone actually knows what that's for, just sort of let me know. So I don't believe there was a pipe on there, but it looks like it might be a breather pipe that goes on there. But that then just takes that inside the car, which seems a bit odd to me. Yeah, so I'm going to get these bits all welded up. Just going to let the camera roll. A few bits of welds that have come through I've got to clean up. And then I'll show you what I've done at the end. Right.
Hey mini enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're all having a great day. This video goes out New Year's Day, so hopefully you had a good time last night if you do celebrate in the new year. Hopefully not too much of a sore head. So as you can see, we're back on the Cooper S, and Mark is really making great progress here. Obviously this build has been a little bit slower than normal. I think some of that is Mark has done pretty much all of this rebuild himself. I went down and I helped out for I think maybe 1 or 2 days, but it was really just helping out with the welding and cutting out, and it's all stuff Mark is more than capable of doing now. So I think I really take my hat off to Mark actually, because a few years ago he'd never really worked on a car or restored a car in his life, and here he is a few years later doing a full restoration on a 70s Cooper S, and it will be to a really high standard. I'm sure it's going to look fantastic once he gets paint on it. And yeah, the build has been a little bit slower, this one. Yeah, I guess a part of that is Mark has been very busy, and as I say, he's done pretty much all of it by himself. But we're getting there now, and this is, I think, the last video where there's any welding being done on the car. So the next video after this is literally getting it prepped to start painting. So Mark starts off with obviously the floor pan and the underside of the car. But yeah, all the hard work is done now, and it will be a case of doing the more fun parts like painting it and assembling it all back together. And I think, thinking back to earlier videos, a lot of the stuff to go back on the car has already been cleaned up, restored, painted, and is ready to go back on now. So like I say, all credit to Mark. I'm amazed at what he does with relatively little experience. He's really picked it up quite fast, and hopefully it gives you a bit of inspiration as well if you're restoring a Mini yourself. It's a little bit easier for me because I've worked in the motor trade all my life, and not doing vehicle restoration, but I've been around people that do vehicle restorations. So, you know, you pick up those skills over the years, but to Mark, this is all pretty much new to him. So if you've got a Mini out there sitting there needing restoration, give it a go. It's all achievable if you put your mind to it. And yes, it does take hard work and it does take dedication, but you can learn the skills. YouTube is fantastic for picking up how to do things. So it looks like Mark had a little bit of trouble lining that up at the back there. To be honest, it's never perfect. You've got 3 panels all coming together in the same place there. And I might have mentioned it on previous videos, it can be actually quite difficult to weld when you're using a spot welder here, because you've got 3 panels to go through. So what I've done on Project Bruce, and I think what Mark has done here, is weld the rear panel to the boot floor first, so do the spot welds to weld that on, and then weld the rear valance on last. And if you want to, you can alternate the spot welds so you're not overlapping spot welds. But yeah, that's how I do it, that's how Mark's done it. Obviously if you're plug welding it's a little bit different, but it is always a little bit messy at the back there because you do have those 3 panels coming together, and they tend to never quite line up perfectly, even when using heritage panels. So we really are getting to the final bits here, just welding on the additional brackets that are not on the heritage boot floor for a Hydro Mini. Really important to make sure you don't miss a bracket, because when you've got round to Gravitexing it all and painting it all, you really don't want to have to go back there welding brackets on. So fingers crossed Mark has done that. He's quite meticulous in his work, so I'm sure he's not missed anything. We'll find out later anyway.
Right, still recording. So that is a wrap. I believe that everything is now welded on. I've just got a few bits to tart around with here and there, but the next stage for me is etch prime. So I need to etch prime all of this, the areas where I've obviously ground back for welding, spot welding, plug welding, and then I'll say that was an absolute bugger to fit. Yeah, so then so etch primer, seam sealer, and then Raptor, which I've ordered in colour. So as you can see with that, don't line up well. But it is what it is. As you saw, it's a bit of a pain in the backside to do. I've had to redo those tabs. They're actually welded on properly now. That's that one. Should I just unbend it? So yeah, so if anyone knows what that is there, let me know. Oh yeah, just got these to grind back a little bit. It's where I welded inside. Yeah, a bit messy there, but obviously I had to drill out all the old spot welds and then try and plug weld them again. So but I've cleaned it up the best I can. All of this will get seam sealer. I've put a weld down there because obviously that's where the subframe connects onto there and there. So I've just put some extra welds there and there. I've welded that in there. That's the repair there. Yeah, so see you on the next one.